What's good with it, ladies and gentlemen? Big Gucci Sold Cat back here once again. Has the wife, has the kids. Great, perfect, amazing. Today we're going to be checking out the worst crimes committed on the dark web. I'm here live today with my chat. Chat, say hi. And be on your best behavior. I told y'all about this, okay? Don't mess this up for me. Okay. So when it comes to crimes, right, I know a lot about those because, like, back in my day, you know, I really did a number, you know, really did a number. But, like, that's in the past, you know? I'm a changed man now. And so as a changed man, I'd like to reflect on other people's crimes that they've committed just to see if they're just as bad as the crimes that I've did in the past, you know? Because, like, I'm not going to lie to you, there's a lot of parking tickets that have not been paid. Me, didn't pay any of them. When I was, like, 19 years old, I accumulated so much parking tickets. Like, with all the money, you could probably feed an entire island, right? And I didn't pay none of them. To this day, like, the government's still coming for my ass, but, like, you know, it's thug life. You know what I mean? To keep it short, I'm a pretty bad criminal, but it's whatever. Anyways, with all that being said, we're going to get into this. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe if you guys have not done so. You guys too, everybody in the chat, go subscribe to the second channel. And with all that being said, let's get into this.
Much has been made of the dark web. It's dangerous, its illicit offerings, and its disturbing users. And today, we're going to be scratching the surface of its depths to separate reality from fiction and give you a peek at the foundations on which this apparent haven for the depraved is built. Here are 3 of the darkest tales from the dark web. Though it's sad to say, poverty is a plague that will forever exist. Whether it be the current financial crisis, the effects of war, or any numbers of other factors, there will always be the haves and have-nots. There's little most of us can do in the grand scheme of things, and those who do have the wealth and influence to spark a sweeping change would never want to change the system that brings them fortune. It's admirable then that in the face of a titanic problem, that there are those who dedicate themselves to making whatever difference they can. We're talking about foreign volunteers who trade the comforts of home for some of the planet's poorest regions in order to aid people in need.
Okay, this is gonna sound really bad, but, like, it's really hard for me to dedicate myself to doing something that I'm not getting paid for. Does that make me a bad person? If I have to really work hard at something, I want to get paid for working hard at that thing. Does it make me a bad guy for like not requiring compensation for, like, the hard work that I do? Does that make me a bad person? Yes, no, maybe so. Know your worth. I like that. I like that. That's good.
And a common destination for those who want to do their part is India, home to the largest population on Earth. It's also a country with extreme wealth inequality, where there's a stark divide between those who thrive and struggle just to survive. In the latter group, none are as vulnerable as the over 18 million kids who've been left to fend for themselves in the nation's streets.
That's so
They're helpless
sad.
and rely on the kindness of others. So while the impact of volunteer work might appear statistically
small,
now
I feel
it's enormous
bad,
for the children who receive support.
Now I
those
feel
who
bad.
upend their lives for the sake of them are considered among the best of us. Although at times the reality can be much darker. And this is Matthew Smith, a school teacher and philanthropist, whose motives were not as pure as they appeared. In 2007, at the age of 24, Smith uprooted from the UK and travelled to Chennai. On the surface, his reasons seemed virtuous. Between 2007 and 2014, he volunteered for non-profit organisations and worked in several orphanages in the country. For context, the vast majority of India's abandoned youth are without documentation, which makes them effectively invisible on anything but the smallest scale. As a result, they're easy targets for those with ill intentions, as there are few who'd ever know of the crimes committed against them.
So he went to India to be a fucking playground sniper? Is that what I'm hearing? Bro went to India just to be a playground sniper? What the fuck is wrong with this guy? As bad as that is, you don't have to travel that far to do that shit. You can still do that shit anywhere and, like, not get caught, you know? Still doesn't change the fact that it's kind of fucked up. But, like, put this into perspective. Bro went across the map just to be a playground sniper. Isn't that insane? Couldn't be me. Shit. Ignore what I just said. Goddamn. Okay, shit, okay.
Even fewer who actually care. Little was known about Smith's interactions with the orphans he claimed to safeguard, though information that came to light much later made the exploitation of at least one child in his care an undeniable fact. The evidence showed him bathing naked and engaging inappropriately with a minor.
What the fuck?
After his 7 years in India, Smith then found a job teaching in Nepal. And as far as we're aware, there's no evidence that he committed crimes against the children he taught there. Whether this is because he managed to hide them, or because he genuinely left the students alone,
hide them?
We'll never really know. In either case, we'll soon see that Smith had an alternative way to satisfy his dark desires. He moved back to the UK in July 2022, and, to true form, continued to ensure that he was always surrounded by children.
God damn, dude. This guy's like the UK version of R. Kelly. Like, imagine somebody comes up to you and goes like, dog, like, you always manage to surround yourself around children. That's so Michael Jackson. Like, that's so Michael Jackson of you to always surround yourself with a bunch of children. That's so weird, dog. That's so weird. But, like, There's weirdos like that on the planet, man. There's just weirdos like that on the planet. I don't know.
Smith began working at Thomas's Battersea, a London private school that cost over £20,000 a year to attend. Perhaps his most famous student was Prince George, who's presently second in line to inherit the British throne.
He most definitely attempted. Shit, what a sick animal.
Smith had 2 roles at Thomas's Battersea. He was the deputy head teacher and perhaps even worse, the head of pastoral care.
Bro, this guy just looks like a scumbag. You see this nigga, Chad?
Emotional well-being of students. There, he didn't draw a hint of suspicion. But behind the scenes, law enforcement was onto him, as they'd gotten word that he'd been sharing abuse materials on the dark web. Now, the dark web's infamy stems no small part from its connection to illegal predatory imagery, which is no surprise given its focus on privacy. The Tor browser affords tech-minded users an unmatched degree of anonymity, provided that they know what they're doing. And where there's anonymity, there will always be people like Matthew Smith ready to expose their darkest traits. Unfortunately for him, somewhere along the line, he'd slipped up. You see, dark web investigations are shrouded in secrecy, so typically you don't actually hear much about the process, because if you did, then criminals would know how to disguise their footprints.
Can I ask you guys a question? When the did this mask become so popular? What the even is this mask? And when the did this mask become popular? Why do niggas wear this mask when they're committing crimes online? What about this mask is the default build for like an online hacker? Can somebody explain this shit to me? What, like, why don't you just wear a regular fucking mask? Why you gotta wear this shit?
And this story was no exception. Investigators at the National Crime Agency gave no indication of what had tipped them off. Whatever they had on Smith, it was strong enough that they were cleared to arrest him in November 2022. When police raided his home in Chesterfield Grove, southeast London, their suspect was kind enough to leave the wealth of evidence in plain sight. He left his Black Dell laptop open, with dark web forums and sites dedicated to indecent imagery of children occupying several tabs. He also left the desktop version Telegram logged in, and this would further expose his shameful secrets. You see, upon examination of the app, investigators found conversations chronicling 5 years of interactions between Smith and 2 teenagers back in India. He'd been engaged in conversation with one of them at the moment he was taken into custody, and it turned out that during and after his time in Nepal, Smith was paying these boys to act as his proxies. He'd make specific requests, send them illegal content as examples, and give them advice on how to build a child's trust. The teens would then target vulnerable children, recreate the examples they were shown, send in the results, and receive payment for their services. A detail often overlooked is that one of these teenagers seems to be former victims of Smith's, likely the child the police found evidence of him bathing with. As prosecutor Martin Hooper...
Bathing with? Who is this nigga trying to be, Michael Jackson? Bathing with? He bathed with the kids? Like, EDP wouldn't even do this type of shit. What kind of shit is this?
Indicated during the legal process, quote, when the boy was older, Smith, referred to his uncle, encouraged him to lure an 8-year-old boy away from his family with the express intention that he would be sexually abused. The defendant said he would pay their school fees in return. So over half a decade, the teacher had spent in excess of £65,000 commissioning abuse material. During the investigation,
bro, it's not that. What?
Indecent images of children were recovered from his electronic devices, around 11,000 of which were Category A. Those dark web tabs he left open also demonstrated that he wasn't alone, and there's a common requirement for entry into that breeder community.
Oh my God.
The contribution of original content.
These niggas are treating like playground sniping as like a Twitch stream. It's like, oh, original content. Like they're treating it like it's a YouTube video. It's like, oh, original content. You gotta make sure that one's original content. Oh, I've seen that one before. Hey man, I've seen that kid before, bro. Can I get something new? What kind of shit is this? You get what I'm saying, Chad? Like, this is weird. I don't like this. This is weird. What the fuck?
And there's no telling how far the results of his offenses may have spread. On the 9th of August 2023, Matthew Smith was then sentenced to 12 years in prison at Southwark Crown Court.
Thank God.
He was added to the sex offenders register for life, and is subject to an indefinite sexual harm prevention order. When asked if he'd committed any crimes against the students attending the London private school, Smith was adamant that he hadn't.
What a sick fuck.
When asked if he'd abused any children in other schools he worked at, he declined to answer.
What a sick fuck.
Anyone with a passing interest in the dark web has heard of the disturbing services available, provided you have the crypto to pay for them. From hiring a hacker to playing director in a murderer's red room, many believe you can buy almost anything, and different levels of truth exist within the whispers, making it challenging to discern the boundary between urban legends and reality. But a troubling substance that's long been associated with the dark web is murder for hire. But can you legitimately
murder for hire?
A few mouse clicks? Well, a surprising number of people decide to find out for themselves. And this brings us to Deanna Mary Stinson, a Florida resident in her 50s.
Of course it's Florida. Like that, because that just makes sense that a Floridian would commit these heinous crimes. That just makes sense. It just makes sense, you know?
Stinson certainly isn't the image we have in our minds. She was an entrepreneur and a director of finance at a church in New Tampa. But as it turns out, envy is a very powerful thing. And Stinson's intentions turned dark in the summer of 2021.
She was a crazy bitch?
The subject of her anger was none other than the wife of her ex-boyfriend.
Oh,
Precisely
boy.
where this hatred came from, we have no real idea.
Oh, no.
What we do know is that the married couple were
Seriously?
regulars at Stinson's church, so she'd often see her target with her former boyfriend. She wanted them gone out of her life. And to do this, she went to tour, where she found it was shockingly easy to find someone offering to kill for a fee.
What the
So on
fuck?
June 24th, she created an account on the site, declaring itself the #1 hitman marketplace. It had a handy price list for potential customers. Death by beating would set them back a minimum of $2,000, a shooting at least $5,000, and employing a sniper would cost $20K plus.
But like, are people genuinely like stupid or some shit? Like, I don't understand. You go on the dark web, you see the like this website that says like, yeah, I kill people for like a fee. And you immediately don't think that there's something suspicious behind that. Like maybe like somebody within law enforcement is affiliated with that. And it's like sort of like a sting sort of thing, ready to hunt your ass down and get your ass, whoever fucking requests those services. Are people stupid, or like, am I just like, because like, I don't think I'm the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm definitely not one of the sharpest tools in the shed. So I don't understand how like, anyways, it's okay.
Rates must have seemed reasonable to Stinson, as the following day, she posted on the site's public forum requesting a quick hit in southern Florida. Now, when you're trying to purchase the services of a killer, there's a specific process that must be followed. So she gave the murder for hire agency her target's personal information and attached a picture of her to make identification simple. It's also crucial that a customer proves they have the Bitcoin for this. Only after this is transferred will a gang member be assigned to the job.
Gang member is
Stinson had
crazy.
a couple of additional stipulations for her gangster for hire. One, that the murder didn't take place when the victim was home, and that the target died in July, ideally between the 5th and the 11th. With her order in, she was eager to see the results. Her preferred date came and went, but the target was still breathing. There'd been a problem,
What?
but it was nothing another Bitcoin transaction couldn't solve. Or perhaps it was, as there was another issue, then a third, and so on. Stinson would make 5 payments to the site in pursuit of petty revenge, only to have been assigned a hitman with incredibly poor luck.
The order was placed? They're making it seem like this is like a fucking something on Fiverr. You mean the order was placed? What kind of what the
Unhappy with the service she'd received thus far, Stinson demanded they have someone with a proven record carry out the hit. Having forked over $12,000 worth of crypto, she seemed no closer to having anyone killed, which, at minimum, warrants
How are you spending $12,000 and nobody's dead?
She would soon be contacted by someone capable of
How the fuck? What? You know how mad I'd be?
This was an FBI agent, and his assignment was to arrest her. Once again, how this came to be was kept vague, with reports stating the FBI were alerted about Stinson, with no further details. In this instance, there were a couple of possibilities. Option 1 is that those running the site send word to law enforcement, which has happened on at least one occasion with a murder for hire site. But option 2 was that the site was actually being run by the feds. Now, this is all too common to happen on the dark web, which usually follows from a silent seizure of the names involved in criminal activity.
What did I say?
In either case, the investigators needed airtight evidence of Stinson's guilt, so they acquired it in an
What did I say?
An agent posing as the assassin, sent to make good on the deal, texted Stinson to introduce himself. In a recorded phone call soon after, they discussed the details. The client reassured the fake hitman that she wanted the murder to go ahead.
You are going
Naturally,
to
this
jail!
necessitated another payment, and the agent would require $350 to buy a revolver. Somehow, a professional killer, reported for duty, completely unarmed, didn't ring any alarm bells, so Stinson agreed. Initially, the agent asked for a Western Union bank transfer, but this wasn't her first rodeo. She knew that would be traceable, so instead she insisted the payment be made via crypto to ensure her security. When the agent agreed, she hopped over to her Coinbase wallet. Yes, the same Coinbase that requires passport-level ID to sign up for.
Oh my
and
god!
was arrested soon after. The arrest took place on September 22nd, 2021, and Stinson pleaded guilty to one murder for hire charge the following year on January 19th.
How can you be like such a smart criminal, but like just such a like a dumbass criminal at the same time? Like, I've never seen anything like this. It's like, it's so crazy because it's like you knew you were smart enough to know, like, okay, like you got to make sure when you do these things, you got to make sure the transactions are untraceable. But at the same time, like, you were dumb enough to put all your personal information on this website so that they can trace you at the same time. And you ended up like being a part of like a sting operation on the dark web. Honestly, at that point, bro, there's no point of me living. That's like a humiliation. Or my parents would be ashamed. Like, my parents already would have been ashamed if I went to jail, but like my parents would even be more ashamed the fact that in the manner I got caught. The manner you get caught for a crime is significantly more important than I feel like the crime itself. If you're going to be a criminal, like I said, guys, Be a good one. Don't be a stupid criminal.
A few months later, she was sentenced. She's currently serving 6.5 years for her crime, and will be subject to 3 years of supervision post-release, and has been forced to shell out another $12,000 this time in restitution. And it could have all been avoided if, instead of seeking a hitman, she'd researched the dark web assassination business itself.
Stupid.
If she'd done so, she'd have known the total number of confirmed hits by dark web assassins currently stands at 0.
Wow. 0?
Thanks to dark web markets like Silk Road, Alphabet, and others, the criminal activity the dark web is especially famous for is the sale of illicit substances. While the markets themselves are often discussed, the systems that prop them up are rarely considered. And that's why in our last segment here,
This is my expertise, guys. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I don't know if I should be saying this, but like, I'm an avid user of several substances. Sometimes you get a better deal when you go online and you like look for, never mind. Let me not say anything.
covering exactly that. This is the story of Zent, the man who some call the Lord of the Dark Web.
Oh shit.
Born in 1959, Herman Johann.
He looks like he makes rugs for a living.
During his teen years, he developed an interest in historic buildings and was particularly fixated on a World War II Nazi bunker on the edge of his hometown of Arnhem in the Netherlands.
That's so
He visited
weird, but
numerous
like
times during his childhood.
that's so
and the
weird.
fascination with bunkers it sparked would never leave.
Visiting a
him. His other
Nazi
obsession was
bunker?
sci-fi,
That's like
a
what you
genre he
do?
felt so connected with that he tried to make his bedroom resemble a futuristic spacecraft, going so far as to modify his bedroom door to open electronically. The name
what a
Zent
nerd.
was another result of his
What a
sci-fi
nerd.
addiction. Once he'd chosen the moniker, he insisted that everyone referred to him by that name, including his parents. In his early 20s, he made it official. Herman Johann Zent graduated from college in the early 80s.
Chat, like, be honest, bro. What are you doing? Your fucking friend comes up to you and goes like your friend named Jason comes up to you and goes like, yo, man, from now on, bro, you're gonna call me Shaggy. That's my name, is Shaggy. You're like, nigga, what the fuck, Shaggy? Like, yeah, man, my name is fucking Shaggy. From now on, you gonna call me Shaggy. Like the dude from fucking Scooby-Doo? Like, what do you mean Shaggy? Like, yeah, man, you're gonna call me by my nickname, and if you don't, we're gonna have problems. Like, be honest, are you laughing at that nigga, or are you like, hell nah? See, that's just insensitive. You can't do that. That'll hurt his feelings. But it's alright, you know.
2 children with his partner, and created several computer-focused businesses in quick succession. If nothing else, he was ahead of the curve. Zent was convinced that computers were the future, and he felt that the freedom they'd grant would
he was
help
smart
shift
about that.
governmental power back into the hands of the people.
That was smart.
To him, few things mattered more than freedom and privacy. It was this, combined with a strange passion for bunkers, that led him to start his bulletproof web hosting business, Cyberbunker. The name wasn't a simple brand.
Cyberbunker?
In 1995, he purchased a former NATO installation. It had been constructed in the 50s and designed to survive a 20 megaton nuclear blast. At 20,000 square feet spread over 5 underground floors, there was ample room to build an enterprise. He populated the space with servers and like-minded friends, several of whom were as strange as the man himself. During a period where how the internet should operate was still in flux, Zent wanted to lead the charge. At the time, there was minimal oversight, and that's exactly how the eccentric Dutchman believed it should be, though even he had some moral fibre, it seemed, as Cyberbunker's rules prohibited terrorist content and explicit imagery of minors. Everything else was fair
But he did
game.
all that shit
As you'd
anyways.
imagine, this meant that their servers were immediately flooded with adult entertainment. Some of the same energy made it into the bunker itself, which allegedly had a porno room.
What the
Live
fuck?
sex shows involving Zent's girlfriends.
Why are all these
Despite
guys so
Staff
weird?
found time to grow the business. In 1999, Herman's old friend, Sven Campius, joined the team.
Chat, that was a joke. Guys, it's a joke, okay? I'm not actually a drug. Never mind. Anyways.
Known by his screen name, CB3 Rob. Campius was another bizarre character, though with anarchist leanings beyond those of his colleagues. Around the time of his arrival, Zent had opted to rent a part of the bunker to a third party. This arrangement persisted until July 27, 2002, when an explosion rocked the rental space. Zent suffered burns in the resulting fire, but what was discovered in the ashes would have longer lasting effects, the remnants of a drug lab. Supposedly unbeknownst to the cyberbunker crowd, the tenants had been producing ecstasy. There was plausible deniability, so no charges were leveled against Zent, but he was stripped of his business license. This meant that for a time, he had to move his operation above ground. Days later, Zent made a bold move. He and Campius declared the independence of their new state, the Republic of Cyberbunker.
What?
Their republic comprised of the partially destroyed bunker and its surrounding lands. Setting their apparent distaste for rulers aside, they decided it would be a monarchy. Zent became president and king of Cyberbunker, while Campius was dubbed
What?
His Royal Highness Prince Sven.
This guy's these guys are weird. What's going on?
Cyberbunker's independence seemed to be tongue-in-cheek for him. His stated motive was a desire to work on projects without outside interference. Campius, on the other hand, was beyond willing to take advantage of his title. To this day, he still uses his diplomatic immunity as a get-out-of-jail-free card whenever possible.
Bro, this is what happens when you play too much of World of Warcraft. These guys are nerds. These guys are bringing their World of Warcraft nerd stuff into the real world. Like, this is the problem. This is what I mean. This is why I say bullying sometimes, it's not necessarily a bad thing all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes bullying can be like a good thing, you know? Because it's like, you got nerds like this who are taking the World of Warcraft names, making them their legal names, creating fucking random bunkers, like it's like some type of Fortnite fucking building, right? And like giving yourself these obnoxious titles in comparison. I feel like if this guy got shoved into a locker enough times, we could have avoided all this. Tell me I'm wrong.
Cyberbunkers clientele would shift further away from legitimate clients and towards criminality. Among its notable clients were WikiLeaks and a low-key file-sharing site known as the Pirate Bay. Its
the Pirate Bay?
Used in other illegal activities as well.
Wait, the Pirate Bay is bad?
Phishing campaigns. Cyberbunker even facilitated.
I used to download all the games from there when I was a kid.
Which was supposedly so impactful that it caused the entire internet to buckle. Legally, a host cannot be held responsible for what its users do, provided they aren't aware of any illegal activity. In effect, this could mean that everyone at Cyberbunker could simply play dumb and stay in the clear. Having grown tired of the scrutiny in the Netherlands, Zent pushed a second bunker in June 2013. Bunker 2 was
this nigga made another bunker?
In Germany. And this time
my god, dog!
By adding a perimeter fence and guard dogs to keep prying eyes at bay.
He made a second bunker!
Though the process didn't begin there. Instead, the first domino fell a year later back in the Netherlands. There, the Dutch authorities were investigating a legal marketplace called Cannabis Road. It was hosted on a Cyberbunker server, but one Zent claimed he had leased to another company. This turn of events led him to believe the German police were spying on him and passing information along. If this wasn't true at the time, it would be soon enough, and it would become a 5-year investigation by a German cybercrime unit in 2015. Though the service claimed to be bulletproof, investigators had no trouble finding gaps in Cyberbunker's security. With the mains unit having been permitted to monitor Bunker 2's web traffic, they were surprised to see that between 10 and 15% of the data flowing through it was unencrypted. Among that data, they found connections to drug markets, the sale of credit card information,
oh my god,
scams. While the authorities were building a case against him, Zent was shifting gears. As the world had—
Guys, does it ever scare you that like your credit card information is most likely like somewhere out on the internet? All of our credit cards probably been sold on the internet. Does that ever scare you guys? Because like if you think about it, the amount of transactions you guys have we've made on the internet, it's like somebody else gotta have a hold of it. Somebody else definitely gotta have a hold of it. Does that ever scare you? Kind of scares me, but like I always like to think that the other guy who has my credit card is not like a piece of shit. You know, he's not gonna go like, oh, you know, let me just buy a fucking Lamborghini with this. Like, he's smart enough to not do that. If he just goes to the store and just buys himself like a Sprite, I don't have a problem with that. I like to think like they're not that up. You know, most of them have kids, wife. So like they're not that messed, right? Am I? Anyways, it's whatever.
Around him, bulletproof hosting had steadily become a less sustainable venture for Cyberbunker, in a large part because of the ludicrous decision to operate out of an old military installation. The majority of legitimate sites had moved to affordable mainstream hosts, so Cyberbunker's profits had fallen so far that they barely covered the cost of upkeep. While the man was trying something new, his focus was still on privacy. This time he aimed to secure phones. With the help of Camphius and others, Zent developed encrypted apps, which operated on a private network. They were installed on modified handsets with disabled cameras and tracking, and often included a kill switch capable of wiping them clean.
Makes
Within a year,
sense.
this endeavor was turning a greater profit than the hosting businesses. Interestingly, most of his phone clientele were in Ireland, and there's a reason for that. On the left of this picture, we see Zent in all his glory. On the right is the Irish drug lord George Mitchell, also known as the Penguin.
That's not why they call him Penguin. Look at him. Look how short and small. He looks like the Batman Penguin. Look, this guy can't be more than 5'4", dog. Look how small this motherfucker. This guy is supposed to be scary. I'm supposed to be scared of this dude. He looks short as fuck. Look at this. Are you seeing this? All you gotta do is give him like some slacks and one of them eye monocles on his eye. Pull one of those out, you'll look just like him. Swear to God. No disrespect. This guy looks like he just didn't move out of his mom's basement. I mean, I get it. He's like some crazy cyber wizard who like has like this $1 million illegal bunker business, but like, dog, he genuinely looks like he hasn't moved out of his mom's basement. He's in his 40s and like he's still trying to make it work.
Then go back at least as far as the purchase of Bunker 1. Allegedly, Mitchell had contributed $700,000 to cover some of the costs. The business relationship had continued over the decades.
$700K.
Mitchell's network of dealers were a part of the market for what Zent was offering. Their ties were so close that the Penguin would act as a salesman, pushing phones to Colombian drug cartels. All things considered, the side hustle was going smoothly. But back in Germany,
I wouldn't call it a side hustle.
Also shifted their focus too.
That's
they
crazy.
wanted to catch Zent committing explicit crimes to prevent him hiding in a legal grey area. So the plan was simple. The mains unit would create their own scam site, one offering a Bitcoin lottery. They built something that looked intentionally sketchy, purchased Cyberbunker services, and contacted a representative asking for assistance.
Okay,
Even
you
after
lost
making
me.
it clear they were engaging in fraud, the Cyberbunker rep had no qualms about helping. The collection of actionable evidence had begun, though what they'd have by the end of it would make this look like a drop in the ocean, as things would take a dramatic turn in 2018, when an intern working in Bunker 2 spotted something strange in a server room. Beneath the floorboards, there was an extra server tucked away, and thanks to a lack of care and a little naivety, Zent had left a critical flaw in his network that meant all you need to do to access everything on it was just access to a single connected device.
Oh, he done fucked up?
The cybercrime unit declined to comment.
Oh, he done fucked up?
What this discovery meant. They had someone on the inside, and there's no telling how long they'd been harvesting Cyberbunker's data in this way. But in any case, one more thing had to happen before the police could make their move, and it involved Cyberbunker's most successful client, Wall Street Market. Wall Street Market was the world's second largest drug marketplace, having enabled over 36 million euros worth of sales during its lifetime. As the case was being built against Cyberbunker, a parallel investigation into the WSM was ongoing. Since it was hosted on Cyberbunker servers, acting on the evidence against Zent too soon may have jeopardized the efforts of the other unit. The patience, however, would pay off in April of 2018, when 3 German nationals behind Wall Street Market were taken into custody. Before long, this would clear the way for the authorities focused on the bunker. The 26th of September 2019 was the day Zent's dark web empire crumbled. In a convenient turn of events, everyone who worked in Bunker 2 was outside of the complex. That day was a special occasion. Zent and his closest associates were at a local restaurant called the Historic Mill, celebrating the fact that their gardener had unexpectedly received some inheritance. Now, if this seems bizarre to you,
what does that mean?
It did to us too.
What does that mean?
The main floor of the restaurant was packed.
It's like cyber Star Wars between nerds.
Zent had booked a private table out on the mezzanine and had no idea the cops were coming until it was too late. As he and his associates were arrested, more than 100 police officers raided Bunker 2. There they recovered 412 hard drives, 433 servers, 65 USB drives, 61 computers, 57 phones, over 100,000
Nigga, why do you need all of them shits?
When all was said and done, they had an amount of data that wasn't possible to process.
Why do you need all of that?
Camphius was never taken in, which led to speculation that he was the man on the inside. The authorities would downplay his involvement in the crime.
Oh, he's the snake?
And distance him from the operations of Cyberbunker in general. The flies in the face of first-hand accounts suggested that he was actually heavily involved, a point bolstered by the presence of a dark web search engine on Cyberbunker servers, cb3rob.net/darknet, that happened to share the programmer's username. The search engine indexed all manner of illegal content, including the kind Zent refused to permit. Zent himself believes the gardener was the architect of his downfall. Allegedly, leaked documents do state that he was undercover law enforcement, though we can't vouch for their authenticity. Herman and his cohorts were sentenced on December 13th, 2021, having been convicted for aiding and abetting over 250,000 illicit transactions.
How much time did he get?
Members of a criminal organization. In February of this year, George the Penguin Mitchell was formally declared a prime suspect in the investigation of Xclue, another encrypted phone network. Camphius remains
Didn't go to jail?
and is currently running Zent's network in his absence. Zent himself is currently serving 5 years and 9 months of prison time in Koblenz, Germany.
That's it? That's it? Dog, you went on for 15 fucking minutes on the disgusting shit the illegal shit that this guy did online, and he got only 5 years? Dog, the nigga's already out by now. He's already gone. He's already done. He's already did his time. He's already out. He's probably doing the same shit now. Nigga, they almost gave me 5 years for loitering one time, bro. I swear to God, I was loitering by a fucking McDonald's one time when I was 17. Bro, they almost gave me 5 years in jail for that. And this motherfucker has the most disgusting online illegal operation in history, and he only got 5 years in jail. Way to stick it to him. Yeah, he clearly won't do that shit ever again. Like, what? Come on, man. This is insane, bro. That's crazy. Anyways, that was the worst crimes ever committed on the dark web. I ain't gonna lie, the last one kind of like, I was kind of lost a little bit, but I'm just appalled that fact that you went on for 15 minutes about the disgusting stuff that this guy did, and you got literally no jail time. I mean, like, this is insane. Anyways, everyone in the chat, make sure you guys go and subscribe to the second channel, GucciSoldierCaptain. Okay, make sure you guys go ahead and do that. So everyone go check that out. Subscribe to that channel. Everybody watching on YouTube with me, okay, on the YouTube right here, you guys do the same shit. You guys subscribe, do all the good things. Let me know down below other stuff you guys want me to react to in the future. And like the video. Some of you guys are not liking the video, and I see that. And it hurts me. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that. Without that being said, I'm going to see y'all in the next video.
See just how I'm coming, yeah, I did this on my own. Don't you tell me something, cause I did it all alone. You ain't help with nothing, no, nah, nah. You ain't help with nothing, no, nah, nah. Came up from the guys and niggas show me some respect. Niggas mad cause I ain't break 'em off on all these checks. You ain't help with nothing, no, nah, nah. You ain't help with nothing, no, nah, nah.